So John, after you finished teaching classes, what was it, 14, 15 months ago?
Right.
Yeah. And you were doing those at ECLL, right?
Yeah.
Um, then you continued to teach private lessons for those 14 to 15 months,
On
right?
campus, right.
Yeah. Did you have permission to do that?
Well, yes. I mean, it. I'm not a ghost where they couldn't see me there. So this is probably one of the most ludicrous things I've ever heard, that I didn't have the right to be teaching there. I mean, obviously, I was on the door schedule for the teaching studio, and it was approved by the department, by the music department, and all the students that were taking lessons from there for me at that time during those months knew that I had a right to be there. That's why that part just it never made sense when the assertion was made that I didn't, because the people that were there taking lessons from me knew they would stop in the office every now and then, and the main office in the music department, and ask about lost and found things or ask questions about me. So to everybody that was involved in the situation, they knew the answer to that. But people that I guess didn't, weren't a part of the situation, they are left wondering. But if you just think for a second, how could somebody be teaching somewhere on a weekly basis for those many months without,
Over a year.
yeah, without them knowing? I mean, it's just ludicrous. Of course they knew. And I think that what happened was, once it got to a certain level, maybe not the highest up levels knew, but the ones that were responsible, the main music department that was responsible for the scheduling, they knew and approved it, and the people that were responsible for okaying it were okay. But once this got elevated to greater prominence, and the situation was ratcheted up, um, the highest up levels at the university took a position that they didn't know about it, and maybe they didn't, but
The channels you went through approved it.
oh, absolutely, yeah. Like I said, otherwise, how could you be there for over a year on a weekly basis, and and it not to be known? And how could you be on the schedule, on the class schedule, and for that not to be known, because that schedule is done by, by the main office. So I don't know what else to say about it. I mean, people that know the true situation think it's funny, and for that to be twisted and to be presented as if I was there, and unbeknownst to to the channels that reserve the room and give you the permission to be there, it's ludicrous.
So what happened when what's he's been labeled as the tabloid reporter? What happened when he approached you at Emory and questioned your right to be there?
It's a good question. I mean, he, just like anybody else, and I think in the same situation, without any kind of a foreshadowing or even the respect of saying that we'd like to talk to you, he just jumped up in front of me with cameras and and a microphone, obviously with the intention of trying to ambush and trying to elicit a shocked response. One thing that wasn't shown was a repeated, really, ambush. Every way I turned, they would scurry around and block me in through a circle of both the cameraman and this tabloid reporter
Wow.
with his microphone. And so I would say, and I was in the middle of a very dense teaching schedule.
Well, yeah.
I had just finished teaching one student. The next student was waiting for me. The student after that had already arrived, and to expect at the very moment, on spur of the moment, to have to respond to his ambushing and shout. I mean, he was shouting out, allegations of you don't have a right to be here, and trying to elicit obviously some kind of a shocked reaction from me, which he got. He got, I guess, what it was he was intending to get. And then when they were ambushing me, the only way to get away from them as they scurried back this way, if I moved forward, or if I moved backward, they scurried back and continued to, to imprison me within, in their circle. If I moved to the right or tried to duck or move to the left, they had completely surrounded me in any way that I turned. So the only way to get away from them was actually to duck out of that circle.
Yeah.
And as they continued to then run ahead of me and recircle me, the only thing to do was to start running toward campus police. I mean, it was a pretty horrific situation, at the time. I mean, looking back on it, I guess like in any other instance, hindsight is 20/20. I don't know if I think back on it, what more I could have done differently other than to run ahead of them.
Because they weren't leaving you alone, no matter what you did.
No, they weren't. And even saying, listen, make an appointment, I'll be happy to sit down and talk with you. And they were causing, a commotion, a purposeful commotion and stir. It was just unbelievable, upset that he was causing at the time. So to get away from them, the only thing I could do was to run to campus police. And campus police was across the parking lot. Of course, I got to that building that you had to go through to get to campus police, and every door at that point to get through was locked. So I kept on having to go up to the next level, try that door, that was locked, and they're running after me.
Right.
I mean, after all, I'm a piano teacher, okay? They acted like they were tracking down, Osama bin Laden.
Oh, I think he was showing off his running skills. Isn't he like a marathon runner? I think he was trying to show
Oh,
off.
Is that what he was?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, he certainly was out of breath, so he's not in that good a shape, to tell you the truth. Because he certainly wasn't able to keep up with me, but as I had to go up every level, I would open the door, I would try to open the door was locked, I'd have to go up the next level, and I heard him panting and breathing behind me. At one point I thought it was a video of a completely different sort. we'll leave that to to the imagination. But there was a lot of panting going on behind me. But I finally, they basically chased me all the way up to the roof.
Oh, wow.
Because that was the end. Because there's no way to come back. When they're behind you with the camera, which is this big, and the reporter, and they're yelling, and they're and trying to cause, obviously a salacious stir and a commotion. You couldn't get back down, so I just kept on moving up. So finally, we ended up on the roof. There we were.
Yeah.
On the roof. So, I circled the roof, they circled, and then I went back down. So, they just tried to present that like, why are you running? Why are you running? Well, here's the answer. I was running to get away from you so that you would leave me alone and running to campus police.
Right.
I don't know. I think anybody else in the same exact situation probably would have done the exact same thing.
Yes.
In fact, obviously I have had a chance to think about this in retrospect. What would I have done differently? Well, when you're being harassed and they won't leave you alone and you can't move left or right, you really don't have any other option.
Right.
I thought back on it.
And anything you're going to say or whatever you might say would be twisted.
Yeah.
Because they obviously weren't listening.
That is the truth, yeah. They weren't interested in the truth of the matter. They weren't interested, he was not interested in getting any kind of a response, like a authentic response, from a bona fide question. It was all about trying to create a salacious, controversial, get it on film and get it, let's make him run and let's follow that and make it seem like he's done something wrong. I had every right to be at Emory. I was on the schedule, and to twist that around to make it seem like the reason I was trying to get campus police was because I didn't have a right to be there is, again, it's just misrepresenting the facts.
Very good.
Sad but true.
It is.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. What an unbelievable situation.
Yeah. Well, I think that addresses that.